On Larry King Now, comedian Rob Huebel.
I've never had one part where that defined me. So I'm sort of like the guest star that shows up for one episode and tries to, steal scenes.
On his roving comedy show on a bus, Crash Test.
So we said, well, you don't have to come out, we're gonna come to you. So we called all of our comedy friends and we said, we'll be in your front yard at 8:30 and you just come out and we'll give you a microphone.
What do you make of what's going on as one fellow comic with Bill Cosby? How does he recover from that or just never works?
I think so. I think he never works again. Every now and then, I still meet someone, and for me, Chevy Chase just like, wow, I was just blown away. He was just like my comedy hero. So I went up to him, and he was talking to a friend of mine backstage, and I said, Chevy, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Rob Huebel. And he slapped me across the face.
Plus,
I've never seen Titanic. I'm sure it's good, I've just never seen it.
You've never seen it?
Is it good? Should I watch it?
Very good.
Okay, I'll watch it. I mean, I know what happens. It sinks, right?
It does. It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest is Rob Huebel. He's been in everything, though he may not be known everywhere. He stars in the long-running Adult Swim comedy Children's Hospital, as well as the seminal Amazon show Transparent, now going into its second season. Rob's latest special is Crash Test, in which he and Paul Scheer host a comedy show on a moving bus, a 60-foot glass bus. Okay. Who came up with this idea since Ralph Cramden is no longer with us?
It seems like a bad idea, right? Why would you do a TV show on a moving bus? There could be a terrible accident, very easily.
Correct.
We saw this bus in New York that was so unusual. It's this bus that's all glass. It looks like an aquarium. And it drives around with the people, but the people face, they're sitting in like movie theater seats and they're facing the sidewalk. So they're just driving around, as though the sidewalk was just the stage.
And the bus is used for what?
And the bus it's some company in New York that does like, Times Square tours and all that sort of.
So what was your idea to do with this?
Well, we wanted to take, I do a show here with in Los Angeles with a friend of mine, Paul Scheer, who's a very funny comedian, and we always had the idea, we do a stand-up show. And we host it every Monday night, and we always joked around that it would be funny to take the audience from the theater and just put them on a bus and drive around LA to all the comedians' houses. Make it easy on the comedians, because comedians are lazy, Larry. I mean, you know that.
They are.
They don't come in here early in the morning, for interview. You can't get them early in the morning.
No, except you.
So we said, well, you don't have to come out. We're going to come to you. So we called all of our comedy friends, and we said, we'll be in your front yard at 8:30, and you just come out, and we'll give you a microphone.
How do you pick the comics that you visit?
Well, they were all friends of ours. A lot of them are popular stand-ups like Aziz Ansari or Natasha Leggero, and people that you see on Comedy Central a lot. And then a lot of the people that don't do stand-up are just funny actor friends of ours like Rob Corddry or Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Recreation.
Now, do these people get on the bus and do their act?
No, well, at one point, the guys from Reno 911, they're like crazy cops, and they pulled the bus over, and they got on the bus and, frisked everyone.
It's a wild idea. So this could be a regular thing, like a weekly?
I think so. It took a lot of work. I mean, producing stuff it's a lot of work. So I don't know about weekly, but maybe like every now and then,
No rehearsal, right?
No rehearsal. That was the thing. We had one night to do it. The bus had to get back to New York. They drove it all the way from New York to Los Angeles. And we had it for one night, and then it had to go all the way back the next day.
It's a regular tour bus.
It's a regular tour bus.
When do we see Crash Test?
Crash Test is on the internet now, so you can watch it whenever you want.
How about a cable net picking it up?
Well, that was one thought. The only thing that we found was that nowadays, I mean, it's just this seems more like the future. The
internet is
I think
no doubt about it.
That's what we thought. I mean, our thought was that people don't want to watch stuff on your schedule. They want to watch it on their own schedule. They want to watch it on a plane.
Like you can with this.
Yeah, they want to watch it at work.
It's a different world.
That's right.
You recently said on the Slate podcast, The Gist, that there's a lot of incest going on in a good way in comedy. Elaborate.
Well, incest may be sort of a harsh word, but I think that there's been a shift in comedy where it's more supportive and people are more collaborative. I think that I came out of New York and performed at a theater there called Upright Citizens Brigade, and so it's a bunch of improvisers, working together to put on an improvised show. Amy Poehler and some people, Matt Walsh and all those guys started it. But I think that there was sort of a shift in comedy within the past several years where there's more stuff like that, more people working together to do something. And now it's sort of transcended just doing stuff on stage and in television too. Like now, we just use each other for different projects. I think in the old days it used to be every man for himself. I'm going to do this stand-up special and screw everybody else. But now I think that there's more collaboration and people sort of using each other's talents more. And I use you in this show and you put me in that show.
Ben Stiller is an executive producer on that?
That's right. Yeah, his company made this whole thing happen.
Why don't you go by his house?
That's a good idea. Well, he moved. He's in New York now. He used to live here.
We'll do the next one in New York.
You know what? That makes a lot more sense. We'll do the next one in New York.
My guest is Rob Huebel. Coming up, Rob on joke theft and his improv roots. Stay with us. We're back with Rob Huebel. Crash Test. Go to the internet and find it. And if you find it, it looks like a great idea.
It's pretty fun.
You recently joined a wave of comedians in criticizing Josh Ostrovsky, better known as the Fat Jewish, for ripping off other people's jokes on Twitter and Instagram. This is a guy who just Twitters out jokes?
Yeah, I think that, it's the story is that this guy became very popular on Twitter, and I actually don't have any. I don't know him. I have no personal.
He just tells
It's just
jokes?
the idea. Yeah, it's just the idea of someone stealing your jokes.
He doesn't credit the people?
No, and I think he's had a lot of success on Twitter and Instagram.
He now credits them, right?
I think so, yeah. But it took sort of a uprising of comedians to sort of call him out on stuff, and it's just sort of that's annoying.
You seen your material taken?
I have not in a while. It's sort of I think it sort of died down on Twitter. People have become more aware of it, but it used to happen a lot for sure. And it's one of those.
In the old days of comedy, though, it was Milton Berle would steal from Henny Youngman.
Yeah,
Youngman from the famous comics were famous for stealing.
Absolutely, and you hear about that a lot in comedy. I think that the internet again has leveled this playing field where now everyone is a reporter or like a tattletale. Everyone is monitoring.
Everyone's a journalist.
Everyone's a journalist, or they think they are.
They blog.
They're not all good journalists, but they're all tracking. Everyone's tracking everything all the time, and so it's harder to get away with stuff like that, like stealing jokes and material. I think it's harder to get away with stuff.
Where do jokes come from?
That's
I know
a good
joke
question.
writers sit down, but some people think a lot of jokes start in prison.
In prison?
People with time on their hands.
God, I hope I don't have to go to prison to think of more jokes. Maybe I will. Yeah, I don't know. I think of stuff at weird times. I think of stuff. It's just whenever you get ideas. I get ideas in the shower, or right before I fall asleep. A lot of times I'll have like what I think is a great idea right before I fall asleep. So I'll get up and write it on my phone. And then I'll look at it the next day and,
What was I thinking?
What was I thinking?
How did you find your way into comedy? Were you a funny kid?
Well, I guess I was. I think that all starts, I think, in school.
You were funny in school?
Well, I thought I was. I think very early on, if you get laughs in school, in your class, you get hooked on that.
No, there's nothing like laughs.
There's nothing like it. When you make
people
laugh, when you feel a group of people laugh,
that's
to
a
me,
high.
It is a drug.
Correct. I do a comedy tour sometimes. I love making.
When people laugh, it's such an affirmation that you want to.
It's a love.
How do I get that? How do I get that?
How did you get into improv?
Well, that was all in New York. When I went to New York, I was about 25, and I found this comedy theater, the Upright Citizens Brigade, and they were just kind of coming together. They were all from Chicago. And they were just putting this theater together, and I just happened to be one of the first people to get involved there. So it was like me and Rob Riggle and Rob Corddry and Ed Helms and Paul Scheer and Just a bunch of guys that have gone on to do big things. So.
You also host a live show called The Shit Show? What?
It's not what you think. The Shit Show is a live show where I invite famous people to come on and show the worst thing they've ever been in. It can be a movie that they regret doing. It can be a TV show that it was terrible and they knew it was terrible. It can be an old commercial. It could be an old industrial training video. You know, so you get these famous people to really go back and look into their boxes of tapes from, like, you know,
bloopers if they're broadcasters.
That's right. That's right. So you can find all that stuff, you know, and the audience loves to see.
How many different things are you doing?
Well, not as many as you. I have a few projects. You know, I mean, now. You know how it is. I think you just have to have a lot of irons in the fire, don't you think?
Yeah, well, it's a different world.
And you want to stay busy.
Oh, that you have to. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to not work?
I understand Chevy Chase is one of your heroes, and you had a surprising first encounter with him.
I did. I grew up a huge Chevy Chase fan. I mean, I really wanted to be Chevy Chase, and you know, all those movies like Fletch and Caddyshack.
He even looked a little like him.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. He was my guy. And then the first time I met him, this was at that theater at Upright Citizens Brigade. He was backstage, and I don't ever get starstruck. I mean, you've met everyone in the world, but you know, every now and then I still meet someone, and for me, Chevy Chase, just like, oh, I was just blown away. He was just like my comedy hero. So I went up to him, and he was talking to a friend of mine backstage, and I said, Chevy, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Rob Huebel. And he slapped me across the face, like really hard, so hard that I saw red. Like, my first instinct was like, I'm going to punch Chevy Chase. And, you know, of course I didn't. And then he said something, I can't remember what it was. He made some sort of little joke, like, can't you see I'm talking to someone, or something like that. He was trying to be funny, and it was just one of those things that it wasn't funny to me. Maybe it was funny to him, but
It's not funny.
It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. And then, so now I just have this thing where every time I see him, I'm disappointed.
He's no longer your idol.
Well, I'll say this. I think that I've tried to change the way I remember it now. Now I try to be positive about it and say, like, you know, it's pretty cool. I got slapped by my hero.
But it's crushing when this famous Jane Levy, a great girl journalist, went to do a piece on Mickey Mantle, her hero. She was a baseball fan growing up as a kid.
Sure.
She's going to do a piece on him. And the first thing he does is grab her leg.
I think that...
Now, when your idols hurt you,
yeah, I think
it's tough getting over that.
You don't want to meet your heroes, maybe.
Maybe it's not.
That's what they say.
Yeah. What do you make of what's going on as one fellow comic with Bill Cosby?
Oof.
How does he recover from that, or just never works again?
I think he never works again, right? I mean, there's no way to...
How do you go on a stage?
How do you go on, you know? But what's weird is that there are still people that are going to the shows, you know?
He's still doing shows?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure, but for a while he was still doing shows and people were going to him. So I don't understand. I would think you go down in a hole and you just live in a hole for the rest of your life. Coming
up, we're talking about Rob's turn in the groundbreaking Amazon show Transparent and what Season 2 has in store. Stay with us. We're back with Rob Huebel. Don't forget to see Crash Test on the internet. It's hysterical. And there will be more Crash Tests coming.
We hope.
I have that feeling. You start in Transparent. That's about a middle-aged father who becomes a woman and his dysfunctional family. How did that happen for you?
Well, I was very lucky. I mean, that show is, again, talking about the internet, just sort of exploded on Amazon. They do that show on Amazon.com, which was, you know, kind of a new platform, and fascinating that they got into the TV business, you know. But that show specifically, the woman that created it is Jill Soloway. She's the writer and director of the show, and it's about her family. Her father came out to them as transgender at 70-something years old. So basically had lived his whole life as a man, and then at 70-something said, this is not, I was born in the wrong body, you know. And I think that, you know, it's a lot, obviously, for people to deal with, and but even more courageous for him to, at that point in his life, say, I'm going to live now as what I think my truth is to live as a woman. And now, that's always been around. I think that people are just now starting to become more aware of it. And obviously with Caitlyn Jenner, so it's sort of in the zeitgeist now culturally. But so the show has been incredible to be a part of it.
What's going to happen in season 2?
Season 2, well, Larry, I don't want to get fired. I mean, what if I start talking about
What is the big thing about keeping things secret?
I don't know.
Why don't you tease us a little? Give us a hint of what happens.
Well, the truth is that I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know, but the scripts change. And what would happen if I came on here and I said, this happens, and then they changed that script and I didn't know about it?
All right. From what you know.
From what I know.
Will I be very surprised?
You will be, you will not be disappointed. I promise you. The fans of the show, the people that got into it, were blown away by season 1, and season 2 goes even deeper. In the family, Jeffrey Tambor plays.
He's hysterical.
He's so great.
A hell of an actor.
And such a good actor. And so he plays Maura, who has transitioned to be a woman. And so you would think that he's the unusual one in the family, but really his kids and the rest of the family, they're all screwed up. So he's trying to keep them all together. And but season 2 just gets deeper and darker and funnier and more touching. So.
What do you make? We talked about changes before. What do you make of this incredible societal change towards transgenders, gay, the whole? When did this happen?
Well, it must be incredible for you to watch too. I mean,
God.
I mean, it's. I think the evolution of humanity. People just being more respectful and more aware of the similarities and the differences between us. People are the same, and people are totally different.
I think it could be a good size of social media.
I think you're right.
That it propelled it.
I think that it has made things evolve so much quicker because there is so much more information that people are able to. And the cool thing is that like younger kids can see, people on YouTube that people used to feel very alone and very lonely and desperate and I'm so different and what's wrong with me. And now they can go on the internet and they can look up YouTube videos of kids that are just like me. Here's another gay kid. Here's a transgender kid. I didn't know there was anyone else like me out there. So I think that you're right that the internet has forced the acceleration of all of that and the acceptance of all that.
Even organized religion is looking at it differently.
I think that everyone is. I mean, businesses and
sure.
Everyone has had to embrace it because it's like all of a sudden the world is flat. And
we might have a gay president.
We could. We should.
Why not?
Yeah.
You've been on the Adult Swim comedy Children's Hospital for 6 seasons.
That's right.
How do you do all these things?
Well, that show is a crazy show that we do. It's on at midnight on Adult Swim, and you may know. Do you know Henry Winkler? Henry Winkler's on the show, and
know Henry forever.
He's the best. He's actually
a great guy.
He's a great guy, and he actually just married me. I just got married in January, and Henry performed the wedding for us, so that was really neat. But Children's Hospital is a comedy show that we've been doing for a long time, and so many funny people. Megan Mullally is on the show, and Rob Corddry, and Ken Marino, and Lake Bell. So it's like a who's who in the comedy
Fun
world.
to do?
It's the most fun job.
All scripted?
It's all scripted, but it's the sort of thing where you go, okay, and then I'll just make up some of the stuff that I want to say too. So it's
a little Larry David-ish.
That's right. So it's just a fun, and we shoot it really fast. We shoot it in like 6 weeks, and then we're done with it. So
you're highly regarded by other comedians. Why aren't you a household name? With all you do, why don't people say, "Hey"?
Yeah. Well,
Rob Huebel.
I've had an interesting career where I've never been on. I've never had one part where that defined me. I've never been on like, a Big Bang Theory or a Modern Family where I was on that show every week for 6 years. I mean, I would have a house. If I did, I would have a house as big as yours. But I've never had that kind of job. So I'm sort of like the guest star that shows up for one episode and tries to steal scenes. That's my job, is to show up and try to steal scenes. And then I get out of there.
Do you like that?
I love it. I love it. To me, it's been the most interesting job.
So you don't want to be famous?
Well, I don't know about that, Larry. Sure, I would love it. I mean, if you're going to put a gun to my head, yes.
Is that your goal, to be on a hit sitcom?
I don't. That's not my goal. But if it happens, I would be excited about it. But I'll say this: I think that the days of those big comedy shows are going away. I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think that those shows, like the big ones, you know, like Big Bang Theory and 2.5 Men, there's only a handful of those shows. So there's only a handful of guys that can be on those shows. Everything else, I think, is going to be very specific. You know, it's going to be internet stuff and cable stuff, and it's all very targeted. And that's just sort of where I found my work.
Are you married?
I just got married, yeah.
So you're going to start a family?
I hope to. I got to get on it. I got to do some research and figure out where babies come from. My wife works for, she does morning news here in LA. So she wakes up at 2 in the morning.
What channel?
She's on NBC. And she does entertainment reporting and the traffic report. So when you turn on the TV
at 5 a.m.
At 4:30, Larry, she's reporting on the traffic on the 405 at 4:30.
How did you meet?
We met through a friend of a friend. You know, it was sort of.
But she has to get up.
Listen, she didn't have that job when I met her, but after we got serious, she found this job, and now. Oh boy, she wakes up at 2 in the morning. You know,
you don't get up, do you?
I don't. We sleep in separate bedrooms, Larry.
Sometimes you're coming home at 2 in the morning.
Last night I did a comedy show, and I got home at 2 in the morning, and she was waking up, and we just crossed like 2 ships in the night.
Hope you have children.
I hope so.
Rob will answer your questions when we come back, and in our final segment, we'll play a game of If You Only Knew. We'll be right back. We're back with Rob Huebel. Don't forget, it's Transparent Crash Test, Children's Hospital, but look for Crash Test, right?
That's the
new biggie. Some social media questions. Brandy McGee tweets, as a comedian, do you think men are inherently more funny than women?
No, that's
used to be in the past, it was all men.
Yeah, I think that men had an easier go of it, maybe, as far as like acceptance and stuff like that. But I think that women are smarter, better, funnier. Like the women writers that I know write circles around the men. The men are there, you know, checking their Facebook on their phone, and the women are like
just women showrunners.
Absolutely, I only want to work with women.
At Princess Wildflower via Instagram, what do you think about Trevor Noah? Is he a good replacement for Jon Stewart?
I don't know. I think that remains to be seen, but I don't know that I would want that job. You know, like to fill Jon Stewart's shoes. Those are big shoes to fill. I mean, Jon Stewart.
Hard to step into shoes.
Jon Stewart literally changed news and comedy. You know, no one had done that before. No one had fused the two of those. And created a format that was so different, and that's how young people got their news and get their news.
He is brilliant.
So I don't know. It's going to be hard.
They say when someone really famous leaves, when a long entity, you want to be the one that replaces the one that replaced them.
That's a good call. That's
the next guy.
That's right. I wouldn't want to replace you. I would want to replace the guy that replaces Larry King.
Which has become, what are they doing now? I don't know. At Danger Winker via our blog wants to know how many times you've watched Titanic.
Well, that's a great question.
Why does that
I'll look
come
straight
up?
into the camera. I don't understand that question, Larry, so I really don't. And I will tell this person I've never seen Titanic. I'm sure it's good. I've just never seen it.
You've never seen it?
Is it good? Should I watch it?
It's very good.
Okay, I'll watch it. I mean, I know what happens. It sinks, right?
It does.
Yeah, so I already know the ending of it.
But the visuals are very good.
Okay. Well,
and a serious one from Jacob George on our blog. Do you believe in life after death?
Wow, that is a great question.
Woody Allen's biggest fear.
Yeah, I want to. I
can't make that leap.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to imagine because I don't remember anything before I was born, right?
Right.
What was happening before I was born? I don't remember anything, so I don't know, but I want to. It would be great, and I hope so.
I don't know anybody that died.
I don't get to talk.
They talk about the other side.
Yeah.
Of what?
Yeah, I don't. These are serious, deep questions.
Well, maybe
but,
they go to planets. Some people think.
That would be cool.
There's millions of planets. There's enough room up there.
You know what's funny to me is that they keep finding more, not just planets, they keep finding other universes.
Stars.
Other, like, universes that they didn't even know existed.
Crazy.
So who knows?
Yeah.
But I hope so.
A little game of You Only Knew. I just throw questions at you.
Okay.
Remember the first girl you kissed?
I do remember her, yep.
What was her name?
Megan Soyster.
Megan Soyster.
Megan Soyster.
Megan Soyster. In
Yeah.
what city was this?
This was in Virginia. She kissed me, actually.
How old were you?
About 5 years old. And it was in the carpool on the way to school, and she kissed me in front of all my friends, and I was embarrassed, and I started crying. I was 5 years old, Larry.
Find out whatever happened to her?
I don't cry anymore. I'm still friends with her. She married my best friend.
Really?
Yep. I'm still friends with her.
No kidding. What are you most afraid of?
Ooh. Bears.
What was your first job?
I used to deliver flowers. I was a floor, because I thought I was in high school and I thought that I would meet girls that way.
Yeah.
I didn't think it through because those girls are getting flowers from their boyfriends.
Guilty pleasure.
Oh, bears.
You fear them and love them.
I eat them, yeah.
Okay. Childhood celebrity crush.
Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase.
Most embarrassing moment. Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase slapping me in front of all my friends.
What makes you laugh every time?
I would say internet videos of people getting hit in the testicles. You know, if like a baseball or a tennis ball.
That's painful.
I love it. Can't get enough.
I thought you were going to say Chevy Chase. A secret talent.
Secret talent. I can juggle.
You can.
Yeah, not very well, and not heavy things, but
You can do 4 oranges.
yeah. That's easy. But not like chainsaws or anything like that.
If you weren't a comedian and an actor, what do you think you'd do?
I would be very depressed because I don't think that I would have a job that I liked. I used to have, a normal office. I was in sales.
Really?
And and I wanted to be in advertising. I thought that would be really fun. But all that stuff, working for a big company in a cubicle, you don't want to do that.
Give me something some people don't know about you.
I make other people look very tan. I'm very pale, so people like to be around me because they feel more tan.
And therefore superior.
And superior. That's
Thank you,
right.
Rob.
Thank you, Larry.
Great guest.
So great to meet you.
Thanks to my guest, Rob Huebel. Crash Test is available on Vimeo for the cool price of $3.99.
Only $3.99.
Only $3.99. You can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and you can go follow Rob at Rob Huebel, right? Simple. And we'll see you next time.